coasties who care. So they tell us.
Got some change after you buy drink or buy dinner, chuck it in the guitar case there, and that's going straight towards buying how to vote cards, maybe even some posters and all kinds of different things. I'm going to help kick it off too, chucking $50 in there myself, because yes, really behind these ladies, they're the legends. Climate change event the other day, and I got the boot because there were too many blokes talking apparently. So I got dumped. I was going to chuck on a blonde wig and see if they'd let me get up and do my talk, and I won't be any more politically incorrect than that right now. But yeah, I got booted. Booted for being a bloke. I was having a muck around crack at my friend the other week on Facebook, as you do every now and then. I mean, inbox just teasing me about something, and he said to me, I'm not here for your entertainment. Isn't that a Pink song? I actually wrote this during the last state election when we were trying to get a commitment for that land to carry on the other side of the place we've been fighting to protect for about the last 4 or 5 years. And my friend Lisa, is Lisa still around? Hopefully. There she is. Yeah, so Lisa and I went for a walk up to Wonderbyne Trig, and I think Lisa's intention was to try and talk me into running in the state election, or that might have come into it, and I did this kind of reverse move, and she ended up running in the state election. So, and got like close to 5%, was it? Or close to 4%, which is an amazing effort. So Lisa's number 1 on the ticket with the girls, is that right? So this woman who's actually got a chance of getting elected on council, we're a bit of a team during that, and we're a bit of a team again. And we did everything in our power to try and get the state member, let's not mention names, but to try and make a commitment to carry on, and we didn't get it, but geez, we had a good warm-up for this time round, and we're hoping that in the lead up to this election we might be able to get a commitment out of the Labor councillors and the candidates to be able to protect all that land up at carry on that we've been fighting for so long.
I grew up against Rumballoa Reserve, so my safe place was the environment, and I've witnessed the council over the years consuming the land and not listening to the voices of the people. So even though politics is not something I am fond of, I'll say I'll be more strategic with my words, I feel like we need a community voice. Yeah, and I think more young people need to get involved. I've got a few friends here who are just starting to realise what's going on. So I'm a preschool teacher and a graphic designer, and I want there to be beautiful environmental places for the children to go to. And we all know mental health issues are on the rise, and they're going to continue to be on the rise with the way the globalist government is headed. And the voices of the people are going to be crushed, because if you look at the Gosford Regional 2036 plan, it's not looking good for the Central Coast. So I've been involved with the Safe Carrying Sacred Lands group because it's symbolic of what's coming for the coast. It's about community not having a voice anymore, and yeah, I want to be the representative of that. So.
I'm not going to let you off the hook yet, though. So what was the moment when, like, who was it, me that hit you up, or Lisa that hit you up to run? Were you already thinking about it, or we spoken about it before? What was the moment when you thought, I'm going to do this, I'm going to throw on a jersey and run on the field?
I absolutely didn't want to. When Lisa and I talked about it, when you contacted me, I think I said to you I couldn't think of anything worse than being a politician. And I still couldn't, but I realise now I can sit there and complain about the government, and I can see what's going on. I've done the research, and I think I'm seeing a lot more people starting to wake up to the truth that we really are headed for a globalist world government that will take away all of our children's freedoms. And I just decided I'll stop complaining and start doing something. Look, I care so much about Lisa's voice, and I want to learn from people like Lisa and Jake, and I want us all to learn together. So this isn't about glory, this is about the future.
They'll only see my name, and your names will be below.
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
This isn't about politics, this is about bringing the community together and showing us that we really do have a voice, even though my voice is shaking right now. We can all speak up, and we need to, because the situation is worse than you could possibly imagine if you really start doing your research. So let's all band together, because the people really do have power.
We've probably already got a couple of $100 in there from generous locals, and it's all going towards supporting these ladies that have no other agenda other than putting themselves on the line really for the sake of our community. So the Greens aren't running there, which is good for us. Because we're obviously quite environmental. Do you mind if I say we? Is that okay? And so we've definitely got a good chance of basically filling that gap that the Greens would normally fill there, because there'll be no one else environmental to vote for. Not that the Greens do that much for the environment on the Central Coast, sorry. But it's more our group most of the time doing the heavy lifting.
I think that I'm pretty much the same as Sarah. The reason why I'm running is because I've always been somebody who, lately, who doesn't want to complain about something and say, oh, that should be done better, why aren't they doing that better, or that shit, without me actually thinking, oh, well, why don't you do something about it? And, I really like that saying of, what can, don't ask what your council can do for you, but what you can do for your council. And I think, I really like the idea of local council being the closest level of council to the actual community. Our council is just it's been atrocious at the way they've treated the public. Sometimes the meetings went really late at night, and we need people that care about the coast, but we need all different sorts of people on the council, but people that can get along with each other is a really good thing, and that's one thing that that I feel like I can do, is I can get along with most people. So, and I think that what we want to do is focus on what's good for the coast. And the other thing that has been one of the motivating things for me to run for council is that we've just been, I'm not going to say treated like mushrooms, do you know what I mean? But pretty much, and it's just, there's just so much spin with our council, we're doing this, and if you look at their website, it looks all great, and we're doing fantastic things for the environment and for the community, and we're consulting all over the place, but it's all been pretty much like this tick box consultation where, we've listened to the community, then we've gone ahead and done what we wanted to do anyway. So, we want to end to that sort of bullshit. Keep in the dark and fetch.
I got you. So it took me a while to come on to that one. So, what can people do on a practical level to support Coasties Who Care?
Coming tonight is a huge, big thing, and I really appreciate everyone coming tonight, because that, obviously you could be doing lots of other things, and for you to come tonight makes a big difference. And that's the thing, a lot of people say, oh, what can we do to help? Coming to something like this to show that you care makes a really big difference. And also, obviously, use the local Aboriginal Land Council to, be as a Trojan horse to desecrate cultural places and bushland. And we're saying, even though that's not a council issue, council does have a say in this. Council can be a force to be reckoned with when it comes to the Central Coast and to our bushland and our children's futures.
Well, council is so let's get that conversation. That's so true. The council's the biggest private landowner on the Central Coast. Save our gums, fix our slums.
Fix our slums.
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
No, that's all right. No, I've learned a lot from you, Jake. But there are a lot of, as Jake said, the council are the biggest landowner on the Central Coast, with Darkinjung Land Council right behind them. But we do own, and the council's land is our land. It is our council, it's our community land. And unfortunately, over the last 4 years in particular, a lot of our land has been sold off. A lot of our community land has been rezoned so that it can be pretty much sold off. And sometimes for not that much. There's some land at the entrance just recently that was sold for $1. And that makes you question what the motivations are for that. But the council will play a really big part in supporting community organisations that are doing great things in our community for our elderly and for our disabled and for our youth. For example, like what you're talking about with Coast Shelter, by providing cheap rent, but also for housing. And I've got to say, with housing anyway, there's 10% of the houses on the Central Coast that no one lives in, no one's in there, and they're saying, oh, we've got a housing crisis. Well, there are other ways to solve the crisis rather than bulldoze bushland.
Do you mind if I say we again? I'm preferencing nobody, unless we get something rock solid for the community. Because in the start, when we're writing out the policies, often what happens is the candidates say, if I'm elected, I'll do this, I'll do that. If I'm elected, I'll do this and that. This group are able to say whether we're elected or not, we will continue.
You just asked me to remind you, we've got a raffle, because one of the reasons we're having tonight, besides the fact that we just we really wanted to let you know why we're standing. And I think because like we're going to different like forums on the coast and everything where other candidates are standing. And yes, we're being asked really hard questions and sometimes we haven't got the answers to all of them. Space system, land on the Central Coast. And yeah, even though we love the environment and we want to see more green spaces, we also know that there's got to be development. We want industry, we want our kids to have jobs, but we want it to be done in like a balanced way.
Just as an example of where we're at and what the community is actually being consulted with, does anyone here have an idea of the referendum that is occurring and what that means for the Central Coast? Did you know that we're also voting in a referendum at the election? No. You didn't know about that? Okay, so Rick Hart, who has a background in agriculture and botany, this is a huge issue that will reduce children's voices in the future.
I think that that's what's really important, and that's why we are saying, vote away from the major parties.